Oh, when you do the intro, make sure you say we're remote.
Recording in progress.
Person and on Zoom.
Okay. Good evening. We're here for the Conservation Commission meeting on Thursday, October 2nd, 2025. We are both in person and on Zoom, and we will start the meeting right away. We're going to begin with the request for certificate of compliance, SE 83-2191, Lisa Warren, 18 Crab Creek. Introduce yourselves and let us know what's going on.
I'm Lisa Warren. I'm the current owner of the property at 18 Crab Creek Lane.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name is Kieran Healy. I'm a land surveyor with the BSC Group representing Ms. Warren. So,
I think we start with you, don't we?
Sure, yeah. So this project was issued an order of conditions in 2019, I believe, for mowing of an established lawn area within the resource area and in its buffer zone. In the permit, they did allow for mowing of the BVW and isolated vegetated wetland up to twice a year, and that applied to all the resource areas on the property except for the salt marsh. So wherever Spartina was present, they were asked not to mow. And so they're also supposed to submit annual monitoring reports. And there were some areas of mitigation shown on the approved plan. So here's the approved plan for this site. And so for the most part, from the certificate of compliance inspection visit, the area has been mowed, and it looks like it's been mowed frequently. And the area is just a little bit wider than the measured 84 and 66. All in all, since its mowing is ongoing, I don't really have an issue issuing a certificate of compliance, but I would recommend to the board that the mowing in the future be limited to the dark green approved area of existing lawn, and that some sort of marker, whether it be native shrubs, stones, bollards, or some kind, be put at the approved boundary of the dark green area on the eastern and western sides, so it's clear where the mowing can continue in the future. And also, the path would be allowed to maintain access to the water. And since it was for Phragmites management, the board may consider allowing a strip of mowing against the Phragmites for the width of the mower, which I think is 6 feet, as they've specified for the other path. That's all.
You want to start?
Sure. I'm kind of confused on the mowing, because when this was approved, in reading the notes from 2020, 19,
19.
there was concern about the mowing and the scope of the mowing and the method of the mowing. So I'd like a little bit of a summary of what's transpired with the mowing, and if it's had any impact, negative impact. I'm not sure who can answer that question.
Well, I can speak to the frequency of mowing, that we followed the letter of this commission, and it was only mowed twice a year. So I can attest to that. In terms of what's happened and what's developed with the land itself, I would defer to my agent.
from our observations, we have not seen a negative effect. The ground is stable. There's no erosion other than right at the very edge. The Phragmites have not come into the area, which was the reason for the mowing. So we find that it's stable and that we don't see an adverse effect.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I guess the issue has to do with mowing, and evidently there was some conclusion reached by Brittany that it had been mowed more frequently. Maybe you can speak to that a little bit, Brittany.
The only reason I say that is because there are areas on this approved plan that say mitigation areas that were intended to not be mown frequently. And so the time frame of the mowing, it was supposed to be twice annually, but in the summer and late summer, so they specified July and late August. And when we were there last week, it looked like it had been mowed more recently than over a month ago. And that being said, it just is extremely wet, and I acknowledge that the board approved mowing of the resource area twice annually when the permit was issued, but the permit has now expired and they're asking for a certificate of compliance. I don't see the need to continue the mowing in the resource area itself. So allowing them to continue to manage their established lawn, their historic lawn location, have an access to the water, and an edge on the Phragmites, one row of mowing, I think should be sufficient to keep the Phragmites at bay.
Okay.
When you say one row, how wide would,
A 6-foot wide,
Foot.
yeah, the same as their pathway that they have.
my mower's only this big.
Yeah, but it seems like theirs is bigger.
Okay, so we're talking about keeping it to a 6-foot path.
Yeah, so the one right now it's just much wider.
Yeah.
So the path is not there to the, I don't understand what that pink
So,
area
yeah,
is.
this is just me trying to get an idea of the, so the path was supposed to be 6 feet on this side, and this is what the area that I'm proposing to allow you continue mowing your pathway on this side to keep the Phragmites.
But why would we, so we'd be allowed to mow there in addition to the path to the water on the
Yeah.
other side?
Yeah, and then just not this area from the salt marsh waterward.
I mean, when the bridge gets changed, the water level's going to rise anyway, and you're not going to be able to mow down there.
And it's
right?
already very
You can see how
inundated.
soggy it is. But I just want to emphasize that my husband does the mowing, and he doesn't like to do it, and it's only done twice a year. So
Okay.
you might say it looks like more, but more was not done.
Okay.
And I would just tell you this little story that 2 years ago, March, I was at the property and looking out the window, and I saw this big gray blob on the lawn. And I thought it was, I heard coyotes the night before. I thought it was a dead animal. I wandered down, and this animal popped its head up, and it was a baby harbor seal. And it was, apparently they come in to the warmer area, that time of year. And if the Phragmites and all the grass had been grown, that little seal wouldn't have been able to do that and get to safety. So I'm just making a point that wildlife, appreciates what we've been doing there.
So, can I ask
Go
another?
ahead.
So Brittany, are you making a recommendation that some markers be put down so that there's a definitive line in terms of where it can be mowed and not, to help the homeowner understand where it can
Yes.
be mowed and not?
Yeah, it's just very difficult for us to tell, and for, I imagine, the homeowners to tell what 84 feet wide and 67 feet wide looks like from the approved area, because there's no way for them to tell. So to get the sides, just the sides, east and west sides marked, it could just be by shrubs. It doesn't have to be by stones or fence or anything, by something, so that they know where the boundary of the mowing is. So that the mitigation areas and the wetland itself can grow into the area that it was supposed to be, even if it has been mowed twice a year.
Oh, okay, that sounds reasonable to me. And also, I wondered if it would be reasonable to the applicant to maintain some sort of written record of when it's mowed.
Well, I think that was originally conditioned and wasn't followed.
Okay?
Yeah, so we
Well, maybe it needs to
received,
be followed.
we received one monitoring report the first year, and then we didn't receive any until this year. So it's been 5 years.
COVID interrupted things a little bit in the middle, but I don't have an excuse for you. So if we can finalize this decision, I respect what the committee has done,
So just,
and we can,
just to be clear, what we're asking for, because I don't know if you're selling the house or not, but if you are, there's, next people come in have to go by the same rules.
absolutely.
So by differentiating or putting out some kind of markers, a boundary, whether it's shrubs or rocks, some kind of marker so they know when they buy the house that we can mow here, but we can't mow anyplace else. It would, so
So-
it's clear to the
so-
next owner.
So delineate to me where you want those markers put, please. Will that be in the final report?
So yes, if the commission votes, it would be, if they vote pending receipt or pending implementation of some sort of boundary markers on the eastern and western limits of the existing lawn area, as shown on the plan outlined in the dark green. But not on the forward side because it may migrate. Is it?
So what we're looking to do is we're looking to close hopefully tonight because
Yes.
there's a closing based on this. So if the homeowner says that she will basically line out, and I'd say the easiest way and the shortest term would be to probably just put in some stones or wooden posts of one or the other just to make sure that there's a specific easy way to see them.
Yeah, like
and
every
then maybe they change it
15
later
feet.
for bushes or something like that. But at least there'll be an initial, this is where you can go and this is where you can't go, to make it clear to the new owner that this is where it is. And I'm sure the current owner, myself, will make sure that that's lined up and taken care of.
Okay, and then Paul's request of, what did you say, Paul, an annual?
Well, yeah, and Bradford also indicated that that was part of the original conditions of monitoring report annually at the end of the growing season. So that would include when it would be mowed, I would imagine.
The only thing is that Brittany's recommendation is that we reduce the area that can be mowed.
Well, but, so in the report, can you put in what area you mowed?
Yeah, so
So if we're not now mowing that area and we're just doing the strips, the mitigation strips, then why would we have to? I mean, before we were we were supposed to report twice annually the mowing of the wetland area. If we're not doing that now, why do we still need to report if we're just doing the strips?
I guess as part of my misunderstanding here, but the thing, I thought there were still areas you're going to continue to mow. But the fact of the matter is, you didn't provide any indication of when it was mowed in any written report previously, so I thought it might be something you could do. But if circumstances have changed, certainly it would be reasonable to not include a mowing report in the annual report if you didn't mow it.
Right.
But any other pertinent information, whatever Brittany says, should be in that report, should be provided. And I get the feeling, I'm not sure if I saw this right, that those reports have not been issued. So could you please do those? Or could they be done in the future by the next owner?
yeah, so if we're issuing a certificate of compliance without allowing ongoing mowing of the resource area, I don't think there would be reason for them to submit reports. But the ongoing conditions that would apply from the original order, we would pick these for, so the boats would still have to be stored in their location. No lawn shall exist other than the existing lawn. No grass clippings, and the one about the swimming pool content. So those would be the ongoing conditions, but we wouldn't include monitoring as an ongoing condition if they're not allowed to do any additional work other than maintaining the pathway and maintaining the Phragmites edge with one strip.
Okay.
And we would be perfectly fine with those conditions.
Okay.
Oh, okay, so this confuses even more. So who's monitoring the Phragmites? Or is,
If we issue a certificate of compliance, nobody would be monitoring the property any longer.
you're
The-
okay with that subject?
That's up to the commission.
Okay, just the Phragmites was the only thing that I was concerned about.
It does look like there's,
It down, didn't it?
The reason for the mowing was to keep the Phragmites down.
Right.
And we would love to be able to pass that on to the new owner, but Brittany's recommendation is that we are not allowed to go in that area, and I fully understand why. But, if we were to close tonight, and if Phragmites were to start taking over the middle section that we're not allowed more anymore, if the new owner could possibly come back and have that discussion with this commission that the Phragmites are taking over, can we mow again? Then that's something that we'd love to be able to pass along to them, that there might be an open ear at the commission if that were to happen. So
So to Paul's point, is there reason then for maybe a yearly report or something on the status of the Phragmites, or do we just kind of wait and see?
Yeah, that would be up to the homeowners if they want to tackle that at a later date
Okay.
with a new notice of intent, because this one has expired, so they generally they wouldn't be able to do it unless you authorize it as an ongoing condition.
Okay.
So it sounds like the new owners would have to come to us if they
Yeah,
have
for just a
problem.
Phragmites management, ecological restoration notice of intent.
Any other comments from the, okay, do I hear a motion to accept the COC pending markers on the east and west side and the ongoing conditions that
10
Brittany
through
mentioned?
13.
Ongoing applicable conditions.
Right.
Yeah.
Which she will, do I hear a motion?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, it's passed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just send me a photo or let me know when those are in, and I'll issue the COC, and you can pick it up or I'll mail it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, give me one, oh, I have to sign this.
Sign it.
Okay, so on the next order of, make sure I get to the right place. Here we go. Request for determination of applicability, Chris Erickson, 2 Cape Isle Drive, after the fact, additional 6x15 float and ramp in land under the ocean and land containing shellfish. Introduce yourself.
Hello, and what is a Phragmite? Never even heard of such a thing. I've been living here my whole life, and I don't even know what a Phragmite is.
You've seen it, but you just don't know it.
Oh, okay. I'll have to look into that one. But my name is Chris Erickson. I'm a longtime resident here in Yarmouth. I'm the owner of 2 Cape Isle Drive. And you wanted me to talk about the history, or?
The history, just your proposed project.
Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to record the deed on this project that I've been working on since 1999. Brad Hall, in fact, I stood before this board many, many years ago, and I got an RDA for this project, and it just wasn't completed through DEP. So now I found out that this whole thing expires after 3 years, so now I'm back before you, hoping to get this thing re-established so that I can finish and get this thing completed and get it recorded in Barnstable. And all I'm doing, I'm not making any changes. There's nothing being built. All I'm trying to do is comply with the town and get this thing on the books. And that's why I'm here.
So the the float closest to the road is the one we're talking about?
Yes, and I've been using that for 26 years. Every year, because like I said, I live here.
Does
Just
anybody have any questions? Brittany?
Yeah, I just noticed a plan error. If the commission decides to issue, it says it's a 6x5 float, but it's a 6x15 float, right?
It's a 6x16.
Yeah, so it'll just need to be fixed if the board decides to issue it. And we are still waiting for the Division of Marine Fisheries to comment, so it would be pending their comments as well. So just for some clarity, he did get an RDA approving the float in 95, but waited until after it had expired to install the float. And then the Chapter 91 license, when he applied for it this year, needed an updated approval from the commission since the old one had expired. So that's why he's here before us with the RDA, with the engineered site plan, so that he can get his Chapter 91 license for the float.
So if we approve, he still is pending DMF comment, so we could approve this pending DMF.
Yes, and so usually they will ask for a float stop when we're this close to the seafloor. And in your case, you don't have a float stop, right?
I don't even know what one is.
Okay, it stops the float from going any lower at low tides. But since this is a man-made canal, I'm not extremely concerned about grounding because it's mostly muck, right?
And it's
There's not-
also being dredged
yeah,
very
not,
shortly.
not the area under your float, but area nearby will be dredged.
Yeah, and that was something you folks approved
Right.
a few
So
months back.
so you understand that if we approve this, DMF is still going to make comments that you'll have to abide by?
Except the float, I'm assuming they're going to make a comment about the float stop that I'm not sure is applicable to this project unless you want him to put a float stop in.
Okay. So even if DMF asks for a float stop, we can say it doesn't have to be done.
Yeah, they're recommendations, so you don't have to take all of them.
You all get that?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing currently in, like, they're just floats. There's nothing actually into the ground
He has a bulkhead.
You know, I don't,
besides the bulkhead, yeah.
No, there's no pilings that they're attached to. They're just attached to the. What are they attached to?
They are, the platform is sitting on the piling.
Okay. Is this metal pole down into the substrate?
yeah, they're all the same for all the fingers in Yarmouth. If they just go up and down, they slide up and down the pole depending on the height of the tide. And I don't think anyone has float stops. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a board of director over in the association, and I never even heard that anyone had a float stop.
But it's attached to these metal pilings.
Yeah, so,
Aren't those?
yeah, the marine people, it's chain. It's just a piece of galvanized chain that goes around the pole, and it slides up and down, depending on the tide height.
So we're approving the new, the size of a 6 times by 5?
It's a 6 by
6,
15
okay.
and 10 inches. That's a typo. So they'll have to provide a revised plan with the correct dimensions.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else in the,
Yeah, so there's no time when the tide is so low that this thing bottoms out on the,
No, I've been living there for a long time, and not really.
I don't think so?
There's always water there, some
Even after
water.
it's dredged, will DMF comment on that, Brittany? That it
It
might
shows-
need stops?
They'll probably comment that. Yeah, anytime there's less than 2 feet of clearance, which this has less than, they say they want.
So
full
that
stops.
might be in the offing for the owner, right? Also, another question I have, are these floats removed? What is they're supposed to be removed by, what, November 1st or something?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's the-
yes, they are. All of them are removed because
Yes.
everything freezes.
That's done on a timely and regular basis?
Yeah, it's usually done before December 1st. I mean, they all come out.
I think November 1st is the target day,
Is that what it is?
I think.
November or December? The other day you said December.
We always have November, but
No?
We have to wait for them.
You know,
to
the
do it.
dock people come in and they just, there's two or three different dock companies, and they come in constantly moving docks, and then it's dependent on the weather and the wind and
Yeah.
the tide and so forth, so, but everybody wants to get them out because, you know, the season's over.
Yeah, I guess sometimes I hear that they don't come out, but I'm glad to hear that they do.
Yeah.
that one says during the non-boating season, so that's not helpful.
Anybody in the audience have any comments or questions here? Okay, how about online? Oh, wow, nobody's on Zoom. There's a new one, I don't have to worry about it.
You're all on TV.
They're all watching the Red Sox. Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
It might be a stupid question, but, so there is like a mirror image existing permitted structure with a license, so
It doesn't have a license.
on the left, on
Oh,
the,
the part of it does, not the one he's
Right.
proposing.
so did we look at that before? And if so, are there conditions that apply because they're identical structures? Are there,
Yes, this is the plan for that. Um,
Oh, yeah, there it is, hand-drawn. It's pretty cool.
Yep, so the original structure was permitted and approved with special conditions that no dredging, the typical special conditions for a float.
Okay.
Removal of shellfish if they exist, no dredging, no drainage pipes through the bulkhead, no refueling, time of year restriction. So all that was in the original.
Can we apply those to this approval tonight?
That was for the bulkhead and the float and ramp, so there's some in there that don't apply. But the ones I would recommend is just that they're removed seasonally. And no other construction work is happening,
Okay.
so I don't think we need any other ones.
Any other comments, questions?
Just a comment. I would be fine approving it without the float stops if that's a DMF
Yeah.
comment. I don't think it's
don't think it's
needs to be
needed.
required here. Yeah.
Okay. I agree with that. Paul, you okay with that? Yeah? Okay, do I hear a motion to accept with conditions?
You need to issue a -2.
-2. Do I have that someplace?
I move to issue a -2 determination.
Second? You go.
Jack will second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. It's done.
Can I just make, what's a -2 mean?
So that means you don't have to file a notice of intent, and your project, as discussed, has been approved. So we will issue the RDA when we get the DMF comment back. We have to wait for them. It's not optional. So once we get their comment, I'll issue it, and you can come pick it up if you're in town. And then you'll submit it to Chapter 91, and then they'll be able to give you your license.
Okay, thank you, but how long does it take for not waterways, but,
They usually
Issues.
respond within 30 days.
oh, they do? Oh, okay,
Usually
so
do,
it's
yeah.
coming up soon, okay. All right, great. Hey,
They're
listen,
not affected by the
No, that's a state program.
state, okay.
all right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
I really
So
appreciate it.
negative in this case is positive.
I know, I was hoping I get a straight A, and I'm -2, I'm like, whoa. All right, guys, thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you. Okay, our next one is James Hilliard, 87 Massachusetts Ave, proposed two-story addition and land subject to coastal storm flowage.
That's okay, thank you.
Oh, wait a minute, I gotta send this down. Someone's not reminding me.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
One job.
One shot, and I failed.
So you introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. Hi, good evening. Darren Meyer, representing James Hilliard, regarding his project at 87 Massachusetts Avenue. Here for a request for determination for a small two-story addition, 12 and a half by 15, in an AE 11 flood zone. There is no other proposed work to the site other than this addition. Site conditions around the property will not change. The construction of the addition will be in conformance with all flood requirements. And that'll all be submitted with the building permit application. Happy to answer any questions.
I do want to mention that when we were out there, we all noticed that there's no doubt that the lawn is being watered. And we're in a drought, no watering situation, so could you please tell the homeowner to stop?
Pass it along, sure.
Watering and keep in touch with what may happen next spring?
Okay.
Anybody have any questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, since it's a two-story addition, I was just concerned about storm runoff and what provisions you have on the roof for that.
The runoff from the roof will be tied into the existing drainage that's there. There wasn't any proposal to add any additional dry wells or anything. I think he's going to tie it into what's there. The reason it's 2 stories is because the kitchen that they want to expand is on the 2nd story, and so they have to add a 1st story to do that.
Do you know if there are existing dry wells on site?
As far as I know, there are, but I can't say 100% certainty.
Okay.
Any other questions from the commission? Brittany?
I just wanted to make sure there's a flood vent located on this side. When you put in the addition, it's going to be relocated to one of those outer walls.
Yeah, there is one on that 10-foot section, and we've recommended that there be one placed on both the 15 and the 12 and a half.
Okay. That you recommended, but they're still considering.
Well, I haven't seen the final design on the architecturals, so we'll tell him that he should do that.
Okay, yes. I would recommend the board issue a -2 with special conditions, including a flood vent on one of the outer walls and gutters incorporated into the existing stormwater drainage system.
Okay. Anybody in the audience? You have something?
Well, it's a fairly small lot, and I'd be really worried if there's not if it just flows into the ground without some kind of, underground storage or something could you check on that?
Is that roof runoff, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it goes, just into the ground, you're close to the wetland.
We aren't near any wetlands on this site.
Oh,
It's
okay.
flood zone only.
Just the flood zone.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do I hear a motion to accept with new flood, make sure the flood vents are on the proposal? And that the runoff goes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, passes. Thank you.
-2.
-2, sorry.
Double
Get them
negative.
negative things.
Negative
you.
equals a positive.
Okay. Oops.
Pass.
Who moved that?
Older.
Paul.
Yeah.
Who seconded it?
They're thin
Sometimes.
sometimes.
Right. The next one is SE 83-2494. It's going to raise the wrong thing. Cape Cod Engineering for RJ Resorts, water resort owner, 291 and 301 South Shore Drive, proposed seasonal deck on a coastal beach, velocities, flood zone, and any ESP habitat. They're asking for continuance to 11/20. Is this their, I know we continued before.
Continued a few times. Natural Heritage originally asked for additional information, and they thought they had provided it, but it turns out they provided data for a different location. So they are still compiling the information they need to give Natural Heritage so they can issue their comments.
Okay, so do I hear a motion to allow a continuance?
I'll do it.
Okay,
Second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. We like them that easy. All right,
Nothing, okay,
nothing to sign.
in here.
This goes with it. This goes up here. Okay, the next one is SE 83-2482, Ryder and Wilcox for James McCarney, 27 Gristmill, after the fact filing for unpermitted patio, retaining walls, and fill within the flood zone and buffer zone to a salt marsh. This is continued, they're asking for another continuance, but this would be their,
Yes. Can you say your full name? What's your last name?
Scott Somakowski.
Okay.
want him to spell it for you?
No, I will guess.
Okay.
And so this project has already requested 3 continuances. I received an unofficial verbal continuance request till the next meeting, but I haven't received it in writing, so it's not official really. But at the last meeting on August 21st, we did discuss all of the plan revisions that the board was needing in order to approve this project. and they were extensive, so the board wanted to see the revised plan prior to issuance of the order of conditions. One of the plan revisions was suggested by the chairman and not decidedly voted on that I would like to discuss tonight was he wanted to see removal of the curb at the bottom of the grading, and that should really be the only thing we need to discuss tonight. And pending that, the board may choose to grant an additional continuance, knowing that they've already reached their maximum, or you can decide to vote on the project, knowing the information you have tonight.
So the thing we're going to focus on is that curbing at the bottom of the, near the road, and whether we'd like them to take it out or not. So I could start and I could say I would like them to take it out, but the rest of you get to have your own opinions.
Is it appropriate for us to ask for what the cause for the delay was? Is that applicable in our review, or?
In my opinion, it is not applicable to your review. The most recent delay is family related, but the revisions were provided at the end of August that we needed. I understand the situation, though they've had time. So the commission may decide however you see fit to grant a continuance. And in my opinion, this notice of intent was submitted in response to an enforcement order. It was submitted in May. We want this site to be stabilized as soon as possible. I really want to see this planted this fall. Any additional delay would make that less likely. And although they've reached their maximum continuance, I would hope to make a decision and vote on it tonight so that they can get this site stabilized. It is right next to a salt marsh. We don't want to see exposed dirt soil there anymore, though I understand the reluctance.
Can I ask what your position is in this project?
I work for the owner
Okay.
doing the work.
So one of the issues
contracting.
is that it seems that work has been done even after asking or saying that you shouldn't be doing any more work. I don't know how much clearer we can be.
Well, you guys asked to have the wall taken down, so I took the wall down all the way down to the left.
Yeah, so
Close to the
everything we
ground.
discuss in the hearing room is for the permit, and no work should happen until you have the permit. So, yes, they requested the wall be removed as part of this permitted plan, but it wasn't authorization for you to do the work prior to having the permit,
Oh,
since that's
I'm
what
sorry.
got everybody in this mess in the first place.
Anybody else have a comment about the curbing?
The curb, is that the curb there, or
No, that's an older picture.
Sorry, that's, you're right.
A new picture.
But the curbing is like one
Still
stone high.
significant, yeah, so it is a solid,
Is that the new curbing?
yeah, it's not a curb, it's the bottom of the bottom row of the wall.
The question is, do we want them to take that out? And some people, I think one of the neighbors who was here and said he's nervous about the water hitting that curbing and coming down to his property.
What is the water gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, the grade is definitely still higher than it was originally.
Yeah,
I think
it's
the
not-
grade needs to come down significantly still. And it wouldn't be able to meet its original grade with that still there.
And we need to have some erosion control
Absolutely.
during this whole, I mean, we should have it now.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's in the permitting previously, correct?
that was the first item on the enforcement order, was to
Right.
install erosion control.
Right, so it's all
Should be there now.
It's all
though.
there.
Yes.
Well, it's kind of a.
Yeah.
Well, this is not, yeah,
Can-
this one's
can
not
you do it
sufficient.
before we permit it or not?
That's a good question. Right, yeah,
I mean, usually they don't drag out this long,
Yeah.
so.
yeah, so it's not an issue. So
Right,
I
so-
see where Brittany's suggesting that we try to get this moving.
So that they can do
Yeah.
everything properly before
For
the
winter.
growing season is totally gone. So, but we're still discussing these curbing part, and then everything else has already been discussed.
I'm also in favor of removing the curb, particularly so that the previous grade can be met.
Okay, anybody else?
I agree.
You agree? You agree? You have your head shaking.
Yeah,
I can hear it.
I'm shaking my, yeah. The grading will be different, I assume, and then, it'll, yeah.
Yeah, so remove the curb and regrade to original.
All you?
Yes, so if the curbing is taking out, would the requirement be to put some sort of a fiber roll or something in there while it's
While it
being
stabilizes.
replanted?
Yeah,
Okay, and that would be more beneficial than the curbing, which creates kind of a hard structure that doesn't assist with the revegetation of the slope, right?
in my opinion, yes.
Or, yeah. Okay, so I would think taking the curbing out would be a good idea.
Jack?
I guess, what is the damage that happens that you're talking about if you leave that curb in, going into the neighbors?
Well, it allows, I mean, it's inhibiting the grade. They keep lowering the grade bit by bit, but it's still too high. So eliminate the curb. It's much easier to tell where the grade should be by matching it to the road.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Any other questions or comments? I mean, we're focusing, because everything else has been decided, am I right? So it's just this curbing and then,
Yeah, I would recommend making 2 votes, adding the curb discussion to the list of required revisions, and then voting to either issue the order or granting a continuance so that you can see the plan again before you issue.
we could vote this in and then pending them giving you the plan and you
Yeah, with-
approving it.
Yeah, with everything that we already discussed previously.
So we need 2 votes. The first one is to remove the curbing or not. Motion to remove the curbing, and Paul, you want to?
Yeah, I make a motion to remove the curbing at 67 Grist Mill.
Okay. Do I hear a
27.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor of the removing the curbing?
Aye.
Okay, anybody opposed? All right, and the second vote is to issue the permit pending revised plans to go to Brittany to be approved by her before any more work is done. And,
Oh,
go ahead.
well, we got to get that erosion control in there, so with the approval, with the removal of the curbing, can we
Yeah,
have a
so part of-
strong condition there for erosion
Can I
control?
put the
Part of-
erosion control in tomorrow?
Yeah,
That's
so-
that green stuff?
Yeah, the green
Yeah.
stuff. That'll work.
Yeah, part of
Yeah.
the original things we discussed on the 21st was things that needed to occur immediately on site, which included an erosion control, cleanup of sediment from the roadway, general construction cleanup, including storage of material outside the 50-foot buffer, and all motorized equipment outside the 100-foot buffer. So that was all voted on.
Okay, so we're okay now.
Right,
Okay.
so now we're
next.
just giving the approval to have the permit pending Brittany receiving the new plans and her approving it.
Can the new plan, and I know, I don't have the plans in front of me, but can the new plan definitely show what the drainage is going to be? Or does it, do we have that?
What kind of, I don't think they have any drainage proposed.
Yeah. I mean, that's to appease the neighbors as well. I mean, that was their big issue, was the runoff, and so, so it sounds like we're going to the existing, what it was before, so it,
They're putting mitigation plantings in the entire front lawn.
and so it should just
It should.
just drain, just drain, okay. Hopefully not run off, okay.
So can I hear a motion?
And do you want a time frame to receive the revised? I guess we don't usually do that, but if we were to have granted the continuance, we would have needed the plan by October 9th. So that's when they should have the plan in.
Yeah, I would think, I mean, we've been with this since May, let's say the 2nd, so it gives them a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you think they can do it in a week, the new
Oh, yeah.
plan? Yeah, okay. It has to be in by October 9th. Now do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No? Okay, thank you. you're all set. You'll get the permit, you'll get the work to Brittany and go from there.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Right.
Folder or not anything
Yep.
on that?
There is a folder.
One of those chicken and egg ones.
Okay, the next one is SE 83-2499, Down Cape Engineering for Steve and Kimberly Duval, 37 Indian Memorial Drive, proposed deck, stairs, rinse station, and vista pruning in the buffer zones to a bordering vegetative wetland and long pond. And this is, again, I have some notes. Okay.
Good evening, Chairman. Good evening. Dan Ojala with Down Cape Engineering. I'm a surveyor and civil engineer, and helping Stephen Duvall, who is hoping to kind of tidy up, a shave and a haircut, his rear yard here at 37 Indian Memorial Drive in South Yarmouth. This is an older property, had an old house on it that was somewhat closer to the wetland than the existing house. It was redeveloped in 05-06 timeframe, I believe. I'll correct that if I need to, but many years back. And as part of that, they put in some patios in the back. The certificate of compliance issued, I think, in about 07 on this one. It's a little bit late, but by that time, well, in any event, the rear yard has looked like this, has been existing for many, many, many years prior to the certificate of compliance. And what they'd like to do is pull up, there's some older, in the photograph there, there's some kind of tired steps at grade down to the little dock there. We couldn't find a permit for the dock, so we're working with Mark Burgess Shorefront to get that permitted properly. It is a great pond, so it needs a permit and also a local approval. So you'll see the plan has on it removing the existing patio and planting beds. It's a 12 by 20 deck will replace that big round patio, and there's also some other hardscape-ish planting beds on the northeast corner there at the end of the driveway. We're going to pull all that up. The rinse station and walkway will replace existing hardscape areas currently behind the garage. These changes will be a net decrease in the hardscape within the 0 to 50, and also overall for the project is a net decrease. Again, the deteriorating landscape steps are set to be replaced with new wooden treads with gravel between the steps, hopefully a little more longevity out of them. Some drainage. Work limit line will be installed. Also part of this is it's not too bad when the leaves drop, but this time of year it's a little hard to see the ponds. They're looking to selectively manage the vegetation in just a 30-foot wide vista corridor in the BVW. And that would just improve some of the views from the pond, kind of a peekaboo view. The site is really nicely, it's very native. There's a ton of vegetation on the north. There's a bunch on the south. To the north is a kind of a natural lot. I think it's the association little park bench and so forth, and all the woods are contiguous. So this is just a little peekaboo view through a nice wooded section. So it'll continue to be a very conservation-looking site. And again, this isn't clear cutting. We're just limbing up, trimming the higher brush and the limbs. There's a pretty extensive protocol there on the left that says that we're not gonna top anything or cut any big trees. It's just limbing up to improve the view in the area of the height of the deck. So it's a 4 to 10 foot in an irregular pattern. We're not going to give it a buzz cut level. It'll have some vertical diversity. And any trees over 3 inches are to remain, just selectively limb them up to 4-inch limbs only. And that's to only 15 feet above grade, so the whole canopy will remain. By hand, no wheel-to-tract equipment within this area, and that's 0 to 35-foot buffer is where that work is taking place. Brad Hall delineated the wetland. I think we got updated data sheets over to Brittany. And we feel the BVW will continue to act fully to its capacity to provide habitat and food sources for wildlife. So again, the hardscape net is going down a little bit. It's an older development. It was redeveloped 20-something years ago. It's a little bit closer than you'd allow today, but again, it is kind of what it is. It's a compact site, and it's a lot better than it used to be with the old house configuration, and a little bit better than what it is now. So we feel it's approvable. It's a relatively conservation-minded site. As I said, there's a tremendous amount of trees that will remain in that buffer and to the east and to the west. And we feel it's a good project and would look forward to you looking on it favorably. I'd certainly be glad to answer any questions if you have them.
I do want to say that if anybody doubts there's been a drought, they should walk the property and see where the pier is no longer in the water.
Yeah. Yeah, stage 2 drought, back to a stage 2. It's no joke, yeah.
That's my political statement for the day. Well, not really, but. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Could you just speak to, and maybe the existing picture? Oh, who's in the picture? Is that any of us?
Sorry, I won't take them out.
Wait, was that a majority?
No, it was not.
And back.
There was 3.
I was just questioning your note here about removed planting beds and patio stones.
Sure.
And what that is and any impact or.
Yeah.
Or what you're
So
gonna.
that's kind of tired-looking landscape timbers around that. It's actually in the picture that Brittany has up now, but it's at the end of the driveway.
Okay.
And we're just going to remove that and replace it with a fescue lawn, so that hardscape will be removed.
Okay. Can you note that on the drawing, that it will be placed with?
Are you counting the garden area as hardscape? Just
No,
wondering.
but
Just the pathway?
there is some hardscape in it, and obviously the timber. No, it's just the concrete, but just use that as a figure of speech. Yeah, there is a note on the plan,
Yeah, oh,
I
I'm sorry,
believe,
is there?
that it's all to be removed. Whether or not we note it on there, but it could certainly be conditioned or revised.
Oh, you're
plan.
removing, I just didn't know if you should note what you're replacing
Fitting.
it with, or do you
Correct,
do
yeah,
that
that
somewhere?
would be appropriate. I think the narrative says that, but the plan could say that as well. And they are, just for the record, going to put a dog fence back in once they get the silt fence done. Just one of those nice wire, hidden from view, but do want to note that, that's on the plan.
You say back in, does that mean there's one?
In other words, when the silt fence comes out, they're going to just put a little wire in the ground. It's hidden, but it's keeps the dog from.
So it's an electric fence, not a physical fence?
Yes, this is nothing physically above ground, just a little, well, that's my understanding anyway. That's what that's my knowledge. We'll certainly let you know if it's anything else, but,
Do they have to dig a trench to put it in?
yeah, it's just a hand spade. It's, you push it back and tuck it in, and it's very, very minimally invasive. I believe that's what they're doing. I don't know, that's what everybody seems to be doing these days. I could stand to be corrected on what exactly a dog fence is, but,
I mean, the top of the coastal bank at the silt fence location where the lawn ends is in a bit rough shape. So I would be worried about any additional disturbance in the exposed soil there.
sure.
I don't have a great photo of it. If they could bring the fence out into the lawn a foot or two so that you're digging into an area that has some roots in it instead of just like open sediment. Because it is like a steep, they obviously created a lawn at the top at some point in time. And
Yes.
there's some rough space that's completely bare. So I would be concerned about them digging there.
Okay. Yeah, we could revise the plan to show that, and I do need to be corrected. It's, silt fence would be replaced with a chain link or similar dog fence, so that looks like an above-grade little fence to contain the puppies.
And above, and so like an actual chain link fence.
That's what the narrative says, yeah.
Historically, we wouldn't allow something like that within the no disturb buffer zone. But the commission can decide whether or not to grant a variance to that. 35-foot buffer zone is not that far away.
Yeah, and it is already, like you say, it was always part of the lawn, going way, way back. the old house was the other way and was pushed out a little more, and so that has been there for many years, but again, it's under a canopy, so things don't grow super well on it. Yeah, I mean, if the board could consider that to be okay, that would also serve nicely as a
Do you know
reminder
how
not to
big
go
their
any
dog is?
closer. I don't.
So another option would be a fence with slats, so wildlife could pass through, but I guess not a dog-sized wildlife.
Would be happy to leave the top up, as long as it's not the smallest toy dog in the world. I think that'll be fine.
So instead of chain link, just vertical slats, and, yeah, I guess we need to know how big the dog is, because usually we'd ask for 6 inches of clearance at the bottom of the fence
Okay.
for wildlife passage, but that is obviously, the dog might fit under that and defeat the purpose, so.
I guess I'm not understanding
Width.
the outline of the fence, because you say the silt fence will be replaced with dog fence, but the silt fence goes almost to the pier, around the stairs. So is it the fence going down towards the water?
No, I can clarify that with a little plan revision, but you can see the X that goes across where it says S in steps. That's the fence. The work limit is the darker line. And then it returns to the house, so Fido can't get out the driveway or near the septic system. So that lighter line where it says proposed fence is the line type for the fence. The darker one is the work limit. But of course, when they're on top of each other, we just made the note that the silt fence would also represent the regular fence. So that's the difference. And obviously, it would have a little gate there at the top of the stairs. I'll see if I can talk them into that, the electric dog fence, but I don't know that would work for them.
Some people don't do electric fences because it doesn't keep the coyotes out.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps the dog in.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I also had a question on the deck. I'm a little confused on how it's, I guess, being raised up. So could you provide some clarification on that? And
Yeah, the first floor, if you look at underneath where it says 12 by 20 step, or you can see in the photograph, the picture's worth 1,000 words there, you can go back to that, but see how the house, the first floor is up a little bit, so that people don't have to go up and down every time they go on the deck. The deck was just going to be, probably one step down from the first floor. That's pretty typical, when you go outside. And having those, so it would be, and then the stairs would go kind of a Nantucket, one on either side. Those are the darker stairs. So simply raising it up to about 6 inches or 8 inches below the first floor, and then have a couple of steps down on either side. That height would likely require a little rail around the fence because, a rail around the deck because that's code.
then what would be going underneath the deck?
Typically would put wash stone so it would drain.
Okay.
You have a question, Paul?
No.
And
Yeah.
question?
Oh, no.
can you give a little more detail on what you're talking about planting around the steps going down? That looks pretty eroded.
Refresh my memory on that. Did we have something about proposed
She has the picture
plantings?
up.
No, I don't think I saw anything proposed in there, but it is pretty in rough shape. So if you're going to be proposing to replace these in-grade steps, I'd like to know the dimensions of the steps and perhaps some plug planting on the sides because it is pretty bare. And we'd be introducing some more disturbance there.
Yeah, well, would replace them in kind. I'll get the dimension, I could scale it, but it's probably, less than 3 feet wide. They're just a narrow little set of steps. But if you'd like some low plantings on the sides, I think we could accommodate that.
Well, more than just the sides as far as the erosion.
So
It
the,
is moss and, which I like moss myself, but it doesn't do much good in that situation where, wouldn't stop erosion.
yeah, well, hopefully, once the stairs are rebuilt, people will use the stairs because they'll be safe, Right now, you can see the person even walking where there's no stairs because the stairs are a bit treacherous, so
Okay.
I think that'll help, but, you know, we could put some, you know, shade tolerant shrubs in there. It's so shady, it's gonna be hard to get anything else to grow, right?
Yeah, I mean, even plugs, winterberry, some pen sedge, ferns, something just to hold the soil there. If there's a lot of wintergreen teaberry growing nearby, it grows well in the shade. But I just want to see something there because we're going to introduce some. We want to make it better than we're leaving it if we're going to upgrade those stairs.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
And then the vista. We come to the vista.
Wait, can we go back to the stairs?
Stairs, yeah,
Sorry.
let's stick stairs.
The stairs are currently unpermitted, correct? So don't we need to provide some sort of mitigation?
I think there was some stairs on the original plan, wasn't there?
It's old.
No, I don't think there were not. But generally, we do allow a 3-foot wide access to a water body, and it would be difficult. You can ask for mitigation, but generally, we wouldn't cut somebody off from their access if they need to improve it for safety. As long as it's 3 to 4 feet wide, and they don't want like a 6-foot wide staircase.
Just wanted to clarify that.
But I think in him saying that the plantings on the side are required for stabilization and in order to permit the stairs.
So then,
Excuse me, any other questions about the stairs before we go on?
Yeah.
Okay, now, Vista.
vista, from what I know of the rules, are fairly constraining, and there's really, as far as I could tell, very little there that could be pruned to meet the standards. And I just want to be sure that they realize they're not going to get a vast kind of, which would be nice.
Clear-cut view, no. No, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but, you know, all we're talking about is, you know, above the shrub line, just limbing, you know, if there's any invasive vines, obviously get those off of there, but just kind of cleaning up the area between the top of those shrubs and 15 feet off the ground so you can, you know, see through the trees, but the trees would all stay. That's a shorthand way of saying it.
Do we have Brittany, do we have a requirement on that sometime before they do it?
We have Vista pruning guidelines that will attach in the special conditions, and in the pre-construction meeting, we can go over in detail which limbs are good to go and which have to stay. Generally, our guidelines, I think you have on the plan, it's living branches can only be pruned if they're less than 4 inches. I think you.
Yeah, I can't, I'm pretty sure they're just copied from other ones we've done, which should follow your guidelines to the T, but.
Yeah, so we'll add the guidelines into the special conditions. And
Side branches up to 4 inches could be removed, but anything over 4 inches, you can't touch. Yeah.
And can we go, are you all set do you have more questions about the?
Okay with that? Do you have any questions?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very minor, but it's water. The rinse station, how are you treating that? Is underneath, is gravel or?
Yeah, you'd put wash stone underneath that, and you know, we have good pervious soil here, so it goes straight into the ground, but you'd always put a little wash stone under it, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You mentioned the pier.
Mm.
Are you proposing to permit it under this?
No.
Or separately?
No, Mark is gonna bring that in. I believe we've given him a working plan already, but he's just backed up.
Okay, if we're, please note, pier is not currently permitted, seeking permitting, or take it off graphically so that we're not confused in the future that we've approved a pier with this site plan.
Okay.
Anything else?
Do we have to agree on the variance for the fence in the 35-foot?
Does anybody have any concerns about the fence being within the 35-foot?
I guess it depends what kind of fence is going
Yeah,
in.
I don't know what kind of fence.
We could require fence at Brittany 6 inches off the ground, slatted.
Like a pool fence, like a,
Yeah, like an aluminum pool fence.
yeah.
But would
Those
that be
those are
sufficient for
attractive. They
wildlife?
fade
Pool
in,
fence.
aluminum black, not a chain link. Well, just what I've seen is they're vertical slats with a thing at the top, and that lets you have a gap at the bottom. I think 4 inches is pool code, but we could probably cheat it a little unless he's got the world's smallest dog to get you the 6 inches. And then I think that would be a very appropriate. Honestly, we have a toy dog and we have to put a wire mesh on it because the dog can slip through, but assuming it's a bigger dog, and I think it could be retrofit as long as you have the gap under for wildlife. Is that reasonable, or would a black chain link be okay?
We would like a fence that wildlife can make its way through.
Yeah. So slatted is better.
I think so, yeah. At least then small wildlife can get through. Obviously not coyotes, but that's the point.
Yeah. Well, mine, the squirrels get through quite nicely when the dogs chase them, so it works well. Chipmunks and everything.
Gives the dog exercise.
Yeah, everyone's happy. Okay, so we can note that and go from there.
Okay with that?
Yeah.
Does the fence go down along the stairs? I'm sorry.
No.
No.
It goes across the top.
Yeah.
Kind of confusing because it has 2 X's.
Yeah, it's just,
The light color X is the fence. If you look where it says gravel driveway.
yeah.
But then it goes along the dark colored X until you get to the top of the stairs, and then it goes straight across.
Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense to go down around those landscape steps for us, so we'll just put I'll show a little gate symbol on a revised plan, that'll clarify and demarcate it a little bit more clearly.
Any other questions from the board? Anybody out in the audience? Nobody's online, so do I hear a motion? I think at this point, we probably need to continue till we get all the other questions on a plan, would you say so?
Do you?
Everybody, yeah? Anybody?
I would like to see the revised plans.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can I hear a motion to continue? When can you get the revised plans by?
We can get the revised plans within a week if you want to do 2 weeks or whatever your schedule is. It's an easy one.
Our next meeting is the
There's
16th.
11. Yes, so by the 16th, plans by the 9th.
You got it.
Okay.
I'll make these notes, and I appreciate your careful attention to everything. Thank you very much.
We still need to vote.
So
Yes.
I'll move to continue to October 16th.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Thanks again.
Now you can
Thank you.
leave.
Yes.
We could have left anyway.
Let's continue over, okay.
All right, that's what I'll keep. Okay. Next one is request for certificate of compliance, SC 83-2244, 114 Upper County LLC, 160 Wood Road. And introduce yourself, and we're going to go to Brittany first because it is a COC.
My name is Craig Whitten. I'm the owner of that property. This is Darren Meyer, the engineer.
Good evening.
Hello. Sorry, 1 second. We speed through. That's not what I want. So this is a certificate of compliance request. It had been submitted in the spring, and they just hadn't had a chance to put in the mitigation plantings at that time, as per the approved plan. Since then, they have installed the mitigation plantings. However, they are in a very interesting location. They do appear to meet where they're located on the approved plan. However, when the plan was made, the intention was for them to be directly adjacent to the existing vegetation of the BVW. So here are the mitigation plantings. There's blueberries, low bush blueberries, and roadies in the back. Here's the BVW. And here's a great expanse of space in between, which I believe at some point either had invasive vegetation that the homeowner's trying to manage or something there, but it's not there any longer. So it's a very odd place for mitigation plantings to be. The only other issue for this property is that this was the approved plan with the paved driveway. They recently redid their septic system to meet code, and they now have a large paved driveway across the front of the property in a U shape. It is outside the 50-foot buffer zone, but it is not on the originally approved plan. And I can
Correct,
show it.
it's within the 100-foot?
That's correct. Here's the aerial. There's the new driveway. And since it is outside the 100, outside the 50, sorry, I did have a photo of the edge where runoff may be an issue, but I would recommend at this point of the driveway, at the end of the driveway, putting in a gravel strip for infiltration and getting seed on that exposed soil as soon as possible, where that erosion control barrier is.
No problem.
That's a photo of. Oh, this is the. Do you have any idea what was in between that area? Was it just invasive vines and shrubs?
It's all just invasive vines, weeds. Every weed you could think of is back there.
Okay.
And we've done a lot of. I mean, when we first bought the place, it was quite a mess. So all we did was just munch it all down and kept what's existing there. There's no grass back there, anything like that. It's all just weeds and junk. And we planted the plants as per what the plan was. If the board would like some more plants, I don't mind planting a few more. It's to just make it prettier.
Yeah, I
But,
think. Yeah, I think that would be best, just to fill some of that space where you manage some plants in the middle, so that
You want it closer to the high water line.
yeah. So where you removed that invasive vegetation in the middle here, where there's just some herbaceous weeds,
Plant more blueberry.
whatever the board.
We chose rhododendron. The board at the time liked the rhododendron because it would act as a backdrop, a larger backdrop. As you can see, the neighbors' fences have rotten and all fallen down.
Yeah.
So we planted the American rhododendron in the backs to keep so they get higher. But then in front of it is just the low bush blueberry. We can certainly continue with blueberry and bring it down further. It's a tough enough plant that'll actually handle fighting with all the weeds and vines. If I plant a lot of other plants in there, they're just going to get choked out and die.
I think that'll also take the place of the mitigate from
Yeah,
the
for
added driveway too.
Yeah.
Which is within the 100-foot, so that would be good too. That would take care of two issues.
No problem.
And the last item was there's just some trash in the wetland. If you could clean up the.
Yes,
DPW edge.
that is a interesting battle that we keep playing. When we first bought the place, we took 4 dump trucks of trash out of the marsh.
Wow.
And there was so much when we first bought the place, but it's all clean now, but stuff tends to wash up. We'll continue cleaning it up. Yep.
Is the retaining wall architectural? Does it serve a runoff purpose? Isn't there a new retaining wall, or
It's just holding back some dirt, that's all.
is that in now? or-
It is.
Yeah.
It's all been
It
approved
was
and
an
everything.
approved
Yep.
plan. My laptop died. I have to go get my truck. Yeah, so I would recommend either issuing the COC with pending installation of additional plants of your choice with my approval, as long as they're native, and cleanup of the debris.
No problem. Do you want more blueberry, maybe another 24 or so?
Sounds good.
Let's go for it.
Nice
I'm
blueberry
all about the
pie.
plants, so we like planting.
If you want anything else too, just let me know. You can swap for.
Great.
So you
Thank
don't have
you.
to decide in 30 seconds.
Sounds great.
So that's what I would recommend to the commission, but you can decide to continue if you'd like to see the plans first.
I wouldn't mind accepting it with your final approval as a condition. Anybody have any questions?
No, I'm okay with approving pending Brittany's
Thank
approval.
you. Do I hear that as a motion then, Mr. Bradford?
I can, unless anyone else has comments. Okay, then so moved.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No? Okay.
Great.
You're all set? Make sure you communicate with Brittany, and
Absolutely.
it'll be great.
Good.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
We have a couple of other COCs.
So we don't have anything on that to sign?
Oh, yeah, we do. That was the 160 Wood, right?
Yes, 160 Wood.
Here's 160
She
Wood.
is, did go blank there.
Taking a short break for Brittany.
Here you go. What does that mean? Trees, where it was limbed up. Where does it say that?
The 15.
Trees may be selectively limbed up.
Right, meaning they can to a certain
Is that what that means?
to
Okay.
give them that vista. Did your computer die? All right, so we'll do the, I think we're on
Island?
Great Island. So SE 83, 1922, a request for certification of compliance. John Bocock and Nora Brookfield, 935 Great Island. Brittany, you have anything to say about that?
No, the certificate of compliance is all set for issuance. They just need to store their kayaks in an upland location, not on the coastal bank.
Okay, and they'll be told that?
Yes, it can be included.
Okay. I'll make a motion to accept. Anybody want a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Next one?
Folder.
Oh, yes. Oh, wait a minute, I don't have that folder. Brittany, oh, there it is. It's out of order. Wait a minute.
Great Island.
Okay, yep. Can we take the next two together?
Yes.
Next two we'll take together, SE 83, 797, Liam Deeney, 47 Cove View Drive, and SE 83, 1148, Liam Deeney, 47 Cove View Drive. Brittany, you have any comments?
No, these are both all set.
Okay, so do I hear someone motion to accept?
So moved.
Second, anybody?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. There are two sheets here to sign. Okay, there you go. Next one is 14 Daisy Lane, proposed tree removal in a no disturb zone of a wetland.
Right.
You could introduce yourself and,
Yes, hello, everybody. My name is Mark Rowan. My wife and I purchased this residence about 6 weeks ago. We just moved to Yarmouth. We will be year-round residents. We are trying to clean up the backyard. Right now, the backyard is pretty much dirt and sand. And there's a very large tree that overhangs our property line. The tree is about a foot, actually, beyond our property line, maybe 2 feet. And the limbs extend probably a good 30 feet over the backyard. Approaching our back deck, you can see the gazebo there. And the tree is just a nuisance. It's just very messy. It results in thousands of acorns on the lawn. So we are looking to have the tree removed. The branches are all covered in moss. We don't feel it's in good shape, but it's very intrusive to our backyard. You can see it covers a good 30-40% of our backyard. And again, it's just very, very messy. The previous owners were summer residents, so I don't think they're too bothered by it. But we anticipate, with the fall and the leaves and the acorns, it's just a very, very messy situation on the lawn. We cannot currently have a lawn there because of again, just thousands of acorns, and now we're going to be looking at millions of leaves. So we are requesting that the tree be removed.
Thank you. So this was an administrative review. Usually administrative reviews are handled by staff for easy proposals. Joe met the property owners on site and looked at the tree. It is located within the no disturb buffer zone of a vegetated wetland, and usually for tree removal requests within the no disturb buffer zone, the approvals are reserved for trees that are in actual hazards for any of the structures on the home. And Joe and I have decided that this tree currently is not a hazard. It is also located on private property, so you would have to obtain approval from the owners in order to cut the tree down. So Joe and I did approve for pruning of dead branches and any branches less than 4 inches that hang over the property line. But he wanted to get confirmation from the board because he was hoping to get an approval.
Well, if I can just comment, I don't believe the removal of anything under 4 inches is really going to make no difference whatsoever. Most of the limbs are much bigger than 4 inches. So, the request is to get it cut down, but if that doesn't get approved, we'd at least like to have the limbs that overhang our property cut in their entirety, not just the 4 inches, restricted to the 4 inches.
A couple questions for Brittany. What would happen if he cut down the limbs on his side to that tree?
What do you mean?
Well, would the tree live? Would it?
I'm not an arborist, but the tree is in a no disturb buffer zone to a vegetated wetland. It has not been deemed a hazardous tree by an arborist. It is a masting year, so I can tell you that this is the most acorns you'll ever see from that tree. So the oaks are masting. That means they produce much more acorns than they would in a regular year, and so those might be annoying, but ideally that won't happen again in the near future.
It's more than annoying. It causes us a lot of work to try to keep the lawn clean. And I respect, it's in a wetland, but if you look at the overhead view, I mean, it's just full of trees. So I guess my comment is if this tree were to come down, I don't believe, it's going to disturb the wetland because of all the other vegetation in the area.
I will say that I have oak trees with lots of acorns on my property, and just the year that it happened. It happened in my other house before I moved here about 10 years ago, and it's just part of nature. Go ahead.
Couple questions. So for clarity, when you say removal of the tree, is that the removal of the roots, or what is your proposed?
No,
just down to the
cut
stump. Yeah,
the tree.
yeah, right.
Yeah. And that's another point I was going to make. The roots are certainly going right into our leach field.
Your septic's in the front, or?
Yeah.
Septic's in the back. In fact, the branches are actually covering the leach field.
Yeah. So, my concern is it's pretty absolute on why we don't, recommend, or if we allow the tree removal. It's sort of a ripple effect, as far as the water and wildlife. erosion, et cetera. And my major concern here is a real serious concern, is this would introduce a very serious precedence. That anybody coming before the board say they want to cut down the tree because they want to, they don't like the acorns, we don't want to go down that road. The tree was there when you bought the property. I'm sure the plat was identified as a wetland. I guess there's
Actually,
not a
it wasn't.
question in there, but.
We're actually led to believe we owned about 20 more feet behind our property. Because that's, some previous owners, I don't know who, but someone maintained an area behind our property. It has been maintained, it's been mowed, it's been,
It has
been maintained.
does bring up memories. My grandparents lived on Monadnock Road in Worcester, Mass. And all 7 kids, we'd have to go there and pick up the acorns. That was our little job. She gave us some candy. Anyway, so.
Well, I mean, it causes a mess, and as I said, it's dirt and sand in the backyard. I'm hoping to, trying to establish a lawn. I mean, it's
Well,
just-
I would be against any cutting down of the tree.
Well, then I propose that we maybe
I'd-
approve cutting the limbs.
One of the background notes, though, I think, is that in our work, we look at what's good for the ecosystem. And you bought that, you may have been misled, whatever, but you bought it and you know that the tree was there. And oaks are the biggest, well, they
Supporter of wildlife.
supporters of wildlife by twice practically any other tree. So I think that we have to look at how much of it does cover your yard. I think that's a problem for you. So I would be maybe willing to allow some other kind of trimming back than what our normal standard would be, but I'd have to hear something about it.
Brittany, what did you say what you had discussed about trimming the branches that over?
Yeah, the approved pruning would be for dead branches and those less than 4 inches. So just like our regular pruning guidelines. If they wanted to do anything additional, I would recommend that a certified arborist has to submit a pruning plan.
Didn't you say that this tree isn't even on the property?
That's
that
correct.
These people own? All
That's
right.
correct, yeah.
So I think it's a moot decision.
Just want to hear from everybody, Paul?
Yeah, I just have to chime in here. I think that Jack was right. You bought this property next to a no disturb zone. You got a big tree. The oaks are so important. What you see as a mess is an ecological miracle. And so, I would go along certainly with any trimming of anything less than 4 inches or some arborist recommendation, but anything else I just couldn't go along with.
Yeah, to your point, everywhere else looks well vegetated in part because of the 35-foot no disturb zone. And the tree from the aerial view looks like a very nice, very healthy, mature canopy tree. To everyone else's point that oaks are one of the best pollinator benefit trees that we have on the Cape, and I would be concerned about removing that tree in its entirety. Would open up quite a bit of understory, not just on your property, but into the no disturb zone, that I feel Joe and Brittany's determination of the trimming of the smaller branches is sound.
Anybody else? No, you? What do we do from here?
You should vote.
Okay, so we vote, so I should hear a motion to,
So you have the administrative review in front of you that I signed. the motion would be to agree with it or make any
Okay.
revisions, adjustments,
I'm
amendments.
going to read, just so you know, again, what it's denied under tree to remain located with no disturb zone. Dead limbs or those less than 4 inches diameter may be pruned if owner signs this application.
Yeah, so you don't need the owner's signature unless the limbs are up.
I'm sorry, I can't.
I'll take the if owner signs, because you can do the pruning without their approval as long as they overhang your property. I'll take out that last part.
So, do I hear a motion to accept Brittany's administrative review?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor of accepting Brittany's?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, so,
So where do we, so at this point, who makes the decision of what limbs could be trimmed back?
So they have to meet these criteria. If you have any others, they haven't been approved by the board. But if you have like 1 or 2 that you want to discuss, they're close, I can come meet the arborist who's going to do the work on site and review them.
So it would then be my responsibility to hire someone to do this work. Is that correct?
Yes, because if they overhang your property, then you can trim them as approved in the administrative review.
do recommend for, just to make sure your neighbor knows what you're doing, just so there's no,
Yes.
And who is the arborist?
Yeah, just let me know who's going to do the work, because you left that part blank. So
Okay.
once you hire someone, let me know who it is.
I will do that. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we don't have any minutes, so the next thing on our agenda is other business not reasonably anticipated, and I did write this letter to the select board. I addressed the issue to the town. I believe personally that there's only so much the water department can do with who they have hired, you know what I mean? They have other jobs to do, and I think the town, through the select board, need to be more aggressive in stopping people from watering. Something I mentioned one day here, I think. I counted at least 28 houses in my little walk around my neighborhood of water. The other day after the rainstorm, there are still people watering. And it's time of year, I don't think anybody needs to water, but it's still going on. I observed the
Chamber of Commerce.
the Chamber of Commerce watering at 6:30 in the morning when I was driving someplace. I have observed lots of hotels on Route 28 watering, not only watering, but watering at noon, which is, of course, the worst time to water. Why bother? And I know many of you have said your neighbors. So I decided to write this letter, and I can do 2 ways. I can just write this letter as myself, but I thought since the Conservation Commission members felt the same way, that I would do it as a Conservation Commission, and I could sign it in your name, but I need to see what you guys have to say. Yes?
Yeah, I think it's a great letter, David. There's one thing that just came to my mind that I think I'd like to add in one of your 6 provisions here, is that the water department be called before the select board to discuss this water ban and how they've attempted to enforce it. And somehow, I'd like to put something in about how they've neglected this responsibility, but, we don't have to go there. But they seemingly have. So all these points you make are valid. I don't know if they're all doable, but you're certainly conveying the message that I agree with personally, the rest of the board.
I'm going to just go right down. Pat, you have anything to say?
I completely agree with you, and I think it's a good letter.
Okay. Jack?
Well, as far as the letter is concerned, I would take a couple of things out, like the reference to the Chamber of Commerce.
I was going to say that, yeah, I agree.
I totally disagree with that.
I think it's obvious.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
No, I was just, Paul, what were you saying?
No, I'm sorry, I kind of jumped in when I shouldn't have. Go ahead, make a statement, and I'll respond after you're done.
I just think that bringing in the water department or anybody on this is sort of like they're at fault or whatever. We don't want to bring them in front of the select board as an example of something. That's just making enemies from my viewpoint. And has been discussed is a little bit where the Conservation Commission is extremely, I'd just take that little part of it out from has been discussed. But I have a concern with taking this approach when we really have responsibilities of our own. We are actually in our authorizing legislation coordinators of watershed and other activities in the town. And it's not through the agencies, but it's through the town. And we have a responsibility ourselves to, when we, just like today's meeting, the drought was mentioned a couple of times. And we have a responsibility to be sure that the standards we meet accommodate the impacts from the drought in the way that we handle the application of best management practices or of any of the things that we say somebody needs to do. So if there's the pond itself, the Long Pond is really low, and you mentioned that. And if that were to impact the type of approach, because somebody would say, oh, it's very low and we can do more things. Now, we would have to point out that, no, they can't. But there, I think, are other hidden things that we are probably in the long run responsible for that we don't have time to get involved with, or we don't have the staff and so forth. I mean, land management, the way we management are, we've done a inventory of impacts on our lands, but from the drought. I could go on, but I just think that maybe contacting the water department, and Dave says he has some, but I'm just wondering if there's a different approach towards getting collaboration from, if we could be the instigator of, rather than going directly to the select board and having them, well, David had, I think, a good point, that they're the ones that should drive it. It's just a different approach I have to get them to try to drive it, that's all.
Bradford?
I think, to your point, I guess, I do think it should be coming from the select board. I think sending a letter as the Conservation Commission, I think gets to your point of being advocates for our land. Obviously, our conservation lands aren't being watered. I think it's okay to mention the Chamber of Commerce. Maybe we could reword that sentence a little bit so it's less accusatory, but I think it's a good example that the town put forth a water restriction that town-owned property is also not following. So I do think it's a good lead by example moment. I do hesitate about bringing the water department in front of the select board. I feel that it might come across as accusatory. Of course, if the select board wants to talk about it with the water department, and if the water department, excuse me, wants to be there, I just don't think they should be dragged in front of it for something we don't necessarily know that they are neglecting. It seems like it, but there might be more things going on that we're not aware of, or that I don't, as you said, I don't like cause enemies in the town. That's not the point of this memo. But I do like the memo, and I think it's a step in the right direction. I think we've outlined some things that can be done to further educate our community that we are pulling examples from other towns on the Cape. So it's not something that we're necessarily doing novel, but just trying to improve our own community.
Turn.
When we discussed this, I think the meeting before last, I think we all agreed that there was some urgency in this, so I commend you for writing this letter, and I think it's very useful, because if I was on the select board, I would respond by saying, thank you, you've identified a problem, and you've given me some suggestions, and we will then, as a select board, talk to whoever we need to talk to. That's what they're for. I think this is very necessary. I think, I'm not a lawyer, but I think identifying the Chamber of Commerce or isolating them at this juncture just gets a little subjective. So I was just thinking that you could rephrase it. You say, we have observed our neighbors and businesses. I don't know if you could add state offices or what the Chamber of Commerce is, but just simply say, we have observed our neighbors and businesses ignoring the ban and even watering their lawns during and after storms, including at noontime. And just the second, and then those two sentences, you kind of combine and then get rid of the Chamber of Commerce. I think these are really viable suggestions, and again, if I was on the select board, I'd say thank you very much, and we'll take it from here.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm overestimating the select board. Sorry.
I will, since I'm the person who wrote it, and I purposely left the water department out because I didn't want to throw them under the bus. I felt that there are extenuating circumstances in what the water department can do with the amount of people they're working for and the amount of work they do. I do think that while they drive around town, some of them might be able to say, oh, look, that's obviously being watered. I mean, we were at one property I just mentioned tonight that we didn't see the water going, but we all said, there's no doubt they're watering. So I purposely kept them out. I put the Chamber of Commerce in because I wanted to show them how deep the issue goes. That if the irony of because not only is the Chamber of Commerce in that building, but the rec department and
Town-owned property.
yeah. So I mean,
You could just say that, and town-owned properties.
Town-owned property.
yeah, I could say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make it more.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
was seeing town-owned property watering. Sure.
Neighbors and, our neighbors, commerce, businesses, and town-owned properties.
That's where the
Yeah.
Okay.
environmental.
Someone asks me what it is, and I can tell.
Yeah. Well, especially if you suggest implementing fines or whatever, because that would be interpreted as a strike one. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be ahead of it'd be on the list.
And then I put these 6 items down for the reason that, they can talk, it gives them something to talk about, lets them say, well, we can't turn off the water. One of the things the water department told me, because I asked them, why can't you turn off the irrigation, is that many people have irrigation turn on off in their garage, or it's locked. I know my irrigation can be locked, so if I didn't want the town to get in there, even though it's outside, it's accessible, I could lock it. Instead, I never turned it on, so. So I wanted to give some choices that they can edit, they can decide. The point of the letter is to show them that it's not being, the people in town are not following recommendations. A lot of people in town don't know. A lot of people in town think that, we had rain the other day, so we don't have a drought anymore. They think that water goes splashing into the aqueduct and makes its way to our wells within, 10 minutes or something. And they aren't educated on how it all works, and not that they should have to be, but they should be educated on, I like Paul's point a week ago when someone said, I have a well, and Paul said, where do you think that water comes from? So I think people have to understand that this has the potential to be a crisis, in the fact that if suddenly salt water makes its way into our system, we're in
Toast.
big trouble. And we're talking about watering lawns. We're not talking about drinking water. We're not telling people they can't drink water, they can't take showers, or they can't do the crucial things. We're just saying to them, stop watering your lawn. You can hand water your plants and keep them alive, but your water, I think the rules are reasonable. It's the action of making sure people follow the rules. But I can certainly agree to change. We have observed our neighbors and businesses ignoring the ban and even watering lawns during and after storms, including at noontime. And then one irony is seeing the town-owned property watering its grass.
Well, yeah, I think that's a great change. I would still, has been discussed, and I don't think you need that, that's just extra.
Just is concerned.
The
the first
Conservation
line?
Commission
Okay,
is
how about?
extremely concerned with,
Okay, I can take that. So Conservation Commission is extremely concerned with the lack of
Yeah.
compliance. Okay.
are you done, or you want me?
Well, hopefully you're done.
Well, no, I want to go into a little deeper about what I see as a problem with Yarmouth, is that really nobody owns water supply in the sense of a watershed in town. The RAC group is pretty much spent all their effort, rightfully so, on the producing the new wonderful system we're getting. The thing that's going to happen is that we're going to run out of money, and the only fallback position we have is actually putting advanced treatment systems on homes.
I don't know where you get that we're
Yeah.
going to run out of money. That's,
After phase, well, I'm predicting that there's going to
in
be,
your opinion, we're going to run out of
yeah.
money.
And can I ask Jack a question at this juncture? How does that have anything to do with watering the lawns?
Well, because that's my approach, is rather than going in and getting people, for instance, why don't we in the letter say we would love to work with the agencies to help them come up with ideas?
I think we have done that by coming up with ideas.
Okay.
And then I think, there's only so much a Conservation Commission, A, has time for, and B, has control over. These are ideas that the selectmen have control over, not us. Paul?
Yeah, with always due respect to everybody on the committee, I probably suggested a more confrontational type of an approach to this than others. Because I have to tell you, I'm tired of seeing this around my neighborhood and my community, where one house has a scorched lawn and another one has a beautiful green swath of grass, okay? Because that person is ignoring a simple, very common request by the town to not water your lawn. And I can't believe that they don't know this, okay? I can't believe that the Chamber of Commerce doesn't know this. I can't believe that the hotels don't know this. They just choose to ignore this request by a department in our town, which is the water department. On the part of the water department, I think they're very remiss in terms of their enforcement efforts. I think there are probably very simple ways they can remind people, even falling short of finding anybody, say, hey, have a sign up. I saw signs in Chatham, when I was down there. There's a watering ban going on, to remind people of this information. Certainly, if we had a nice paper, it would go in the paper. It's probably online. But simple ways of water department employees, I don't know how many there are, but how about saying to them, look, take a half an hour, 2 hours every single day. If you see something like the building inspector sees a violation of building regulations, he gets out of his truck, he goes over and puts a cease and desist order on the house. Water department people could start just putting a reminder on people's houses. Hey, you can't water now. Give me a call. I'll explain it. There are simple things that could be done, and it's causing I think, a certain amount of anxiety in the town when people see in the neighborhood some people just being very derelict in terms of this whole responsibility. It's not right, it's not fair, it's not appropriate. So that's all I'm getting at in terms of where I see this issue of a department or the town, kind of not doing their job. And I'm sorry if I get a little bit animated about this, but to me, that's all it is. Let's come up with a simple solution. We don't have to, get into a complicated, approach to this. And I know that some folks are interested in that, and that's the background, but that's not what I'm getting at. Let's just stop this simple thing. I said enough.
When this all started, and I would call the water department probably 2 times a week. I'd have a list on my phone and I probably ended up calling in 50, and I bet you 47 of those 50 still water. And I kept saying, when are you sending out the letter? And they said, oh, they're going out. And when I left for San Diego in July 4th, they still hadn't gone out. And it's easily a month. So I agree with you, Paul. I think the water department could be more aggressive. I just don't want to, for lack of a better term, throw them under the bus. Let the selectmen decide how to do this. And selectmen come up with a solution. If the water department needs to hire a summer intern who goes around and only at 6 o'clock in the morning, or just telling, as you said, green grass, and writes down and puts a little paper in their mailbox, then that's a great way to do it. But that's up to the select board to decide that.
Okay.
Well, can I just say, I appreciate that information that you sent out letter, or tried to get them to do that, and I see that's critical to this.
And I'm not the only one who called. Brittany mentioned someone she knows who
I've talked to the
called.
water department.
You called. The woman and I used to joke. I said, this is, David, talk again, telling you another list, And the other thing is, the water department can tell right away who is using more water than they would normally use. Because I would say, such and such a street, and she'd say, well, let me look. Oh, yeah, they're using much more water than, they're obviously water. So they can tell from their desks who's using more water. Or they can certainly double check it. You wanted to say one?
Yeah, I think, I think it's very important, in fairness, no, I don't want to say it that way. It is difficult for somebody that doesn't have, online access to our website or whatever, about what's going on. And I found it really effective driving on 6A through Sandwich and Barnstable. No matter what's happening, they have those VMS, as you call them, electronic signs, the VMS signs, variable message system. And those are really good. I mean, they're like, they tell you now, present day, what's going on. And that would be the Department of Public, I think that would be the Department of Public Works would put those signs out.
Actually, we have a.
So you say it, I mean, you could say electronic and put in parentheses VMS signs, so, but, I mean, we want to focus on preventive as well as reactive. Like you talk about the fines and everything as far as the reactive, but we still want to get the information out there. But I think it was Jack's point about us and our role, would it be okay if we say, the Conservation Commission, in our capacity as stewards of our watershed, like, somebody would read this and say, well, who are you? But hey, this is what we do. And I think Jack was trying to say that. This is what we do. This is what we care about, instead of just saying we discussed it. Just, or, do you know what I mean? It give us more oomph in our capacity as stewards of our watershed and, I don't know, Wetlands Protection Act. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, put some oomph in the letter.
Yeah, and so the Conservation Commission, in their responsibilities for wetlands protection and
Yeah.
environmental stewardship.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah, thank you, Brittany. Yeah,
That's,
yes,
connection is really what was
right,
missing.
exactly. That's what I got from your comment.
Do you have the other ones, Brittany?
What?
Do you have the other sentence changes too?
Yeah.
Okay. I will say there is somebody in town, as an employee of the town, who's in charge of communications and publicity. Is that how to put it?
Public.
We have a communications director.
Yeah, communications director who should be doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so,
Can I make another suggestion just from the perspective of persuasive writing?
yeah.
We urge the town to provide the resources and support needed to take proactive measures for water conservation.
Okay, great.
Excellent, yeah.
You want to add something, Pat?
I was just saying about all our electronic signs there, they're probably being used for all the detours we've got.
I know.
A lot
We'll
of them
buy
are.
more.
But there was one sitting on the road to Seagull Beach for 2 weeks without anything on it. And there
We
was
could
one
use-
by the police station that said, drive carefully, you know?
I was just
over
thinking
them.
of the sign we've had over there about the festival, the Seaside Festival. That's been up for weeks over there on the.
Yeah.
You could have an inexpensive, whatever that kind of sign
Yeah.
made up and put there. People look at that because they're all going up and down.
The sign in Parker River
Yeah,
on
banner.
28th says, beginning September 2nd, there'll be construction on 28th. So they haven't even updated the sign. And
There's one of those signs, isn't there, in front of the old police department down there, the recreation department.
Yeah.
I think that there's a sign in front of the White High School.
Oh, those signs, yeah, well,
Those
we
kinds
are
of things.
working on Brittany and Joe are working on getting signs. I don't know where you're at with that, but,
What kind of sign? Sorry, I was reading something when you said.
oh, wow.
There's also those cheap little, I think they're, I saw when you pull out of Setauket Road onto 6A, there's a sign about the hazardous waste
Yeah.
collection, and there's some sort of reference to water on that, and I'm not sure what it is. I'll
Well,
look at
think
it.
about all the people go to the dump.
Take the one from the dump.
I know that, but I'm
Yeah,
not
what
not
does that
clear
say
on what
now?
the
It's like,
what
is
the
this
organization is.
Renew your
Where-
sticker
I
in
mean,
April.
It can't cost a ton of money to purchase a bunch of signs that say water restrictions in place.
And we'll
in
reuse them every summer.
Places in town,
Yeah.
It's got to be real time, you know what I mean? That's why the VMS.
And I guess I'm wondering why, because I see this group as a reflection of the community in many ways. What we say, what we think about, what concerns us, many people out there are with us on that, okay?
Yeah.
So if we're saying this, then there's probably a lot of other people in town are saying it, maybe they don't have this kind of access. And so, you just come on, you
There are a
know?
lot of other people, because one of the select board members said it when he or she has open house or whatever. A lot of people come in and complain about it, about how other neighbors, and a lot of it is, I hate to say this, but a lot of our people who aren't down here all the time.
Mhm.
We are our
Well,
neighbors'
summer people.
second home.
So they don't know, because they don't get code red or any of those things. And some of them are the bigger houses using.
I
more
believe
water.
it. That's why if they came home to a big red sign on their garage door, they might
Yeah.
see it and say, what's this?
Yeah.
You know, and know that they have to turn off their irrigation.
So I think we've got a new letter, so why don't Brittany will,
And I think you guys can vote on your changes, and we can send an update to get the thumbs up. But I think you can vote on it, because you
One
just.
more thing. Your points 4, 5, and 6, did you refer to the rules and the law on getting those, or?
no, that's why I wrote if legal course of action. They can fine them, I know that, I
Yes,
asked that.
they can.
They can do the daily fine.
Yes.
Whether, honestly don't know whether they can turn off the water or not.
Yes, they can.
Okay, then that's, but I wrote down if it's a legal course of action.
Yeah.
So,
Or desired.
well, that's up to the board, the select board.
Would it be the equivalent of if there was if I live in Boston and my house is down here in Yarmouth, and I have a water leak,
Yeah.
and water starts pouring out of the upstairs window, does the water department have the right to come and shut the water off? Wouldn't the same thing apply to an unattended irrigation system?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's
Well,
written
they
into
can
the
come in
rules.
and shut off the water.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
A neighbor who had a broken pipe, and that's exactly what happened.
How do most people find out about a drought? What do you think
Well,
is their
that's,
word of,
that's
word
one
of,
of the issues. is
yeah,
that they
I mean, word of
they
mouth,
don't
or
know.
they don't,
Yeah.
right?
So can we have
honest, I
a
found
motion
out
to accept the revised letter that, and pending, do you want us to, pending an email to us from Brittany? And
Brittany's
you'll give a
wordsmithing.
thumbs up?
So moved.
So moved, second, anybody?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye,
Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you for your help and for your editing.
thank you.
No, you thought I was gonna say no, but
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, Brittany?
Yeah, I have two quick items. Cleanup day scheduled November 1st. Sign up, tell your friends. And also on the select board agenda for October 7th or October 21st, I've noticed they've included a potential discussion about pesticide forum. I have not been able to identify when they've discussed this in the past. I've watched some meetings, but it's just something to be on the lookout for. I will be watching for October 7th. I don't know exactly what they'll be discussing, but I think they might be leaning toward adopting some sort of pesticide.
Barnstable just adopted. one.
Yeah, since Barnstable just
yeah,
did.
right.
So that's a good thing to have on the radar if you want to participate in that discussion.
Yeah.
Check the agenda for the October 7th meeting to see if it's still up there.
Is that pesticides or pesticides and herbicides?
It did not, so it's just on the look-ahead schedule. It said pesticide form, question mark. So I'm not exactly sure what they intend to discuss yet.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
No.
Anybody else have anything? Can I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Recording stopped.
That was faster than us.
Well, there you go.
Recording in progress.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We are done at 7:01.